I used different magnetic lashes today, so can't really tell if they're on my eyeballs or not. Someone's deciding to do a home improvement project upstairs. Can I just say, it's a true miracle that I'm able to film this right now because it's been so dark all day. I've been trying to film this for like 3 hours and I finally got a sliver of natural lighting. So since being in New York, I've been getting some questions on Instagram just about how things are going, if I'm liking it, if I don't like it, what's happening. So I figured we would do a little Q&A slash update chit chat. I was gonna say coffee chat, but I've already had about 4 cups of coffee today. I'm set on the coffee. Speaking of Instagram, I did do an Instagram reel on this makeup look. I'm gonna have all the products I use listed down below in the description box too, but I filmed that right before this. And a few products that I use today for my makeup, and I use most days when I'm doing my makeup, are these from Hailey's Beauty. Thank you to them for continuing to support my channel and sponsoring a portion of today's video. Every time I say beauty, I have to like really think about it or else it just comes out as booty, and then I refilm it 45 times. Hailey's Beauty is founded by a female chemist, which I love because I feel like they know their stuff when it comes to products. And right now they're doing a Black Friday sale, 35% off site-wide from now the 22nd until the 28th. So I'm gonna tell you about a few of my favorite products that I love from them. They make one of my favorite concealers of all time, literally almost out of this. This is one of the few concealers that sits well underneath my eyes where I don't have to set it with powder. It has full coverage, but it dries down, it's waterproof, it's the right shade for me. It just has all of the combination of things that I look for in a concealer. My go-to shade is Fair Light Neutral. It's like the perfect tone for me. And super cool because the tube of the concealer is made from renewable sugarcane, so you can actually take off the metal tip and recycle the packaging when you're done. And right now, as a part of their Black Friday sale, it's on sale for $13. It's one of the few concealers I have used so much that I'm actually gonna have concealer empties. Concealer and foundation empties for me are very rare because I usually switch it up so much. I like to try different stuff. And then 2 other things I wanted to highlight are these 2 brushes. You guys, these are bomb. This is their Brilliant Kabuki brush. It has a domed shape and it's the perfect density. That's what I look for with a foundation brush, is one that's dense but it's not hard. This one still has nice soft bristles, and if I have a foundation that's looking streaky or whatever, if you use this instead and just kind of stipple it on, really helps with the streak situation. And it's on sale for $11.70, which is a really good price for like a high quality foundation brush. And then this is technically their Brilliant powder brush, but as you can probably tell by the color, I use this for blush, and you guys, it just gives you the friggin' prettiest blush application. Something about the shape, and again, it still has like this density to it, so it's not too flimsy, but the shape just applies blush so beautifully. You can use really pigmented blushes, you can use sheer blushes and kind of build it up, and it is so friggin' soft. You could also totally use it just for face powder, or if you're someone who likes using highlighter but with like bigger brushes as just kind of like an all over glow, brush definitely works for that too. I just want to keep brushing it on. Also, Hailey's Beauty is vegan and cruelty free, so if you want to check out anything from their site-wide sale, 35% off for Black Friday. So I'll have the link down below. I think I'm gonna need to stock up on the concealer because such a good price. So when I asked you guys on Instagram, basically all of them were about like the same 4 main topics. So I'm just gonna start it off and get into them. Let's start off with what I think of New York. Am I liking it? Do I not like it? So far, the thing I love about New York is it's so easy to just walk outside, and maybe it's just because I'm new here, but just like walking outside, you're constantly seeing things, there's new places you're noticing. It just feels like you're experiencing new things every time you go outside your door, and you never really know what's gonna happen. You never know what you're gonna see. You might see something weird, or you might just like hear really cool music playing or meet someone or whatever. It feels very like you never know what's gonna happen, which I really like. The other thing I love is it's so incredibly easy to get anywhere because of the subway. You can literally walk a few blocks, get on the subway, and end up in Central Park or end up in Brooklyn or wherever in like 15 to 20 minutes. But Seattle, if you want to go somewhere, even if it's like a few miles away, it might take you 45 minutes just with traffic. So it just feels like a bigger excursion to go somewhere. You have to like really plan it into your day. Whereas here, if I'm like, oh, I want to try out this new coffee shop in this total other neighborhood, I can just either walk and like see things as I'm walking, or get on the subway and you're there in like 5 minutes. I also love that I feel like you're working out without actually working out. I've been doing so much walking, but it hasn't felt like that because you're seeing things all the time. I feel like this could almost be its own video. Maybe I'll do a whole video on this when I am done with my time here, because right now when I'm filming this, by the way, I've only been here for 10 days. I think it'll be interesting to tell you my perspective on certain things now, and then maybe once I'm leaving in a month and a half, I'll tell you again like my overall kind of thoughts about being here in New York. Let me know down below if you guys would want to see that. that. Also, back to the subway point and just it being easy to get around, I almost get the feel of like being back in a college town because it's so easy to go see friends. The first day I was here, I randomly bumped into a friend literally on the street corner. My other friend, who's lived here for like 8 years or so now, said that that happens all the time. Even though it's like a big city, you run into people you know all the time. And I like that. Like, I think it's so cool that you're just like walking around and then you see someone you know in this like massive city. Some things are definitely more difficult. I'm gonna save that list for the video at the end of my month and a half here. It's definitely like there's people around all the time, which as an introvert can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, and I definitely still need to like come back to my apartment and like recharge for like a day or two. There were a lot of questions about if I have friends here, if I know people here. So I have one good friend that I've known for years now, like since college. So it's been really nice hanging out with her and just having someone that I know is like there if I need anything. And then I have another good friend, Arbor, who you guys saw in the China vlog a few years ago now. Arbor lives like a half-hour away. And then I have one other girlfriend here who also just moved here like a couple months ago. I got a lot of questions about just being alone traveling, and for the most part, I really like alone time. I like being alone, and especially when I'm like in a new city exploring things, I like doing that by myself. So it's like I'll see my friends on the weekend, go out to dinner, do that kind of thing. But for the most part during the week, like I am spending a lot of time alone, which I'm good with. Someone's deciding to do a home improvement project upstairs. And I was thinking about this the other day. Even though I'm alone a lot, it's weird because with YouTube and Instagram, if I'm like filming stuff, that takes up a lot of like social energy for me. Even though I'm just talking to myself in a room, it's still like I'm talking because I'm putting up a video, I'm filming for hours talking. That's kind of how I get my like talking out. It's not like I'm like talking to a coworker in an office, but definitely after I film, most times I feel like a little bit drained. I don't have any family in New York. I don't have family in any of the cities that are potential places to move. And also the other few places, I don't know anyone. I might have like, you know, like the friends from way back where you're like, can I text them? I don't know. I probably will, but I have like a couple people like that in Chicago, but in Boston, I don't think I know anyone. Okay, a lot of questions about these two topics. First, am I still with my boyfriend, or relationship status update? Some of you, I guess, missed the video. It wasn't like titled anything to do with relationship things, but I'm gonna put it in right here and link it down below if you need to catch up on that. But yes, I'm currently single. And then the other most asked is, am I dating right now? Am I going to date while I'm city hopping? Have I been on any dates? And to kind of sum it up, I'm open to it. I'm not like actively on the apps and stuff yet. That is freaking exhausting. Like, for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that I was on the dating apps for like a few years before I met my last boyfriend. It just consumes a lot of your mental space. You're constantly worrying about why he's not responding and what's going on and all these things. And it's just like, it's exhausting, and I'm not there, you know? Like, I just want to kind of live my life and do my thing. And if I meet someone, I meet someone. And I'm sure, you know, in a few months or whatever, I'll probably go back on the apps, or maybe sooner. Like, I don't know. But I'm just feeling like right now I'm in a good spot with just like enjoying traveling, not worrying about dating. If something happens, it happens. I'm just kind of like going with the flow. What's your favorite thing about moving, traveling so far? So far, what's been really nice for me is because I'm vlogging, I feel like I'm getting something done by going outside, like personally, but also I can film it. It ends up being fun to just like film different kinds of videos. I have a few different New York kind of videos planned, so that's been just like a nice change of pace for me. It's very different when you can film what you're doing. So it's just felt like overall surprisingly a little bit more relaxing. Maybe it's just because I already have some videos pre-filmed that I'm also like thrown in there. So once I get, you know, caught up with the videos I already had pre-filmed, I'm sure it'll go back to chaos. But for now, it's just been nice to like switch things up with the videos. There were a few questions about how I chose the candle scents and how that whole process went. So if you missed the announcement video, I have 3 new candles with Anchor Northwest. One is burning back there, head turner, but I have Late Night Glow and Love You Loads. 20% of the proceeds of Love You Loads are getting donated to Healthwell Foundation. The New York apartment tour video is where I talk all about the candles and talk about the announcement as well. So I'll leave that video down below if you missed it. Hello from my editing self with this very obnoxious high bun. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you if you're someone who's purchased. We've been seeing all the photos coming in, resharing them on Instagram, Twitter, seeing everything, and it's been so cool. And I wanted to let you know that as of now, when I'm editing this video, you guys have raised over $7,000 for Healthwell Foundation, and hopefully by the time this video goes up, it'll be even higher. We're updating on Instagram every few days, so thank you so much for your support, and it'll all be linked down below. International shipping is available. I just wanted to note on here too, because it's the first time I've had a chance to say it on here, that the international shipping prices are determined by UPS and FedEx. Unfortunately, Anchor Northwest doesn't have control over that. So I know shipping has been crazy for international prices, but that's something that we weren't able to do last time around. And we wanted to give you guys the option for those of you who did still want to purchase it. Thank you if you're someone who has, because wow, we know the prices can get really up there with international shipping. You do get a discount if you get all 3 in a bundle. And the other question was, if you get the Love-U Loads in the bundle, does that still go to Healthwell? Yes, it does. But anyways, the scent process, to tell you a little bit more, is really fun. Basically, I sit down and brainstorm a bunch of different ideas for candles that I have and get like really specific with what I want it to smell like, and also if I have any like perfume equivalents to where they could go get a sample of the perfume so they can see what I'm going for. Then we get on an initial call to go over the ideas to see if any of those are possible, talk about the packaging, talk about, you know, all the other stuff that goes into it. And then as far as just like creating the scents, Anchor Northwest goes and works their magic. They send back a whole box of tons of samples. A lot of them are just like varied slightly, like maybe one has more of a cedar scent, maybe one has more perfume. And then I send back notes and we go from there, do another round of samples, and then just basically try and narrow it down back and forth as quickly as possible. And then I brainstorm the names, we go through that. So it's a very collaborative process, I would say. A lot of questions about how to meet people in new cities. I'm not trying to like make a ton of friends because I'm bouncing around right now, so I'm not really like actively trying to make new friends. Obviously I'm meeting like friends of friends right now, but I'm not like going out of my way to try and make friends because I'm going to be leaving and I don't know where I'm going to end up. But wherever I end up, I definitely feel like you're most motivated to make friends when you first move somewhere, like that first year, because it's just easier when you can be like, I just moved here. You're just like more open. You definitely have to do things, which I'm going to be better about wherever I move to on like a regular basis, whether it's like going to a gym, doing some kind of class. Like I think I want to do some kind of language class, something that's like very regular, that I'm getting something out of, that I enjoy doing, but that I can also meet people in, or maybe like a pottery class, some kind of art thing, like whatever it is, just something regular. Once I actually move somewhere, I mean, you guys will be with me on that process. Safety tips for traveling alone, you practice. I've traveled to a few different countries outside the US fully alone, and I think my biggest tip is don't be afraid to ask for help. Stay in hostels because you'll usually meet people. Be very aware of your surroundings, just like in any city. That was another question someone asked, was like, New York is so dangerous. How are you doing alone? Things can happen in any city. Like I just truly feel like there's so much you can control yourself, and that's, I think, the important thing is like do what you can to control the situation. As far as bringing pepper spray, being super aware of your surroundings. If I ever get a weird vibe from someone, I don't really care what it takes to get rid of them, I will. Like if someone comes up and sits next to you on the subway and you get like a weird feeling, move. If you feel like someone's following you, if you feel like someone's staring at you weird, like just move along and don't be afraid that it looks weird, because your gut's usually right. What's your most trusted source for restaurant reviews? I usually do the trifecta, you know, I do Google reviews, Yelp sometimes, but honestly I'm not the biggest fan of Yelp, and then Instagram/TikTok. You really can't trust anything TikTok's saying as far as food. It's just mostly like, so you can see the atmosphere and stuff. Chicago's still in the running for a city you'd live in. Yes, Chicago, I would say right now is actually number 1. I'll get more into that in a different video, but yeah, Chicago's very much in the running. And also my timing for cities has kind of changed around. I think I'm going to be in Chicago now in March. How are you doing being away from all your friends and family? I'm normally away from all my family, so that's the same for me. It's just that we have a different time zone, which actually works out weirdly better because my parents get up really early. So if I'm calling them when I'm like on a walk or something at like 9 a.m., they're just waking up at 6 a.m. They wake up friggin' early. And so it's a good time to like talk. So that has actually been kind of nice, the time zone. And I really like being on East Coast time. It's a weird mental thing, but you feel like you're just like ahead of the rest of the, I mean, you kind of are because you're already up, but like you just feel like you're getting a good early start to the day. Has it been difficult adjusting not having a car? So far, no, but like I said, it hasn't even been a month yet. So ask me that question in like 3 months. Some questions about traveling with chronic pain, like how I'm doing this. I've just tried to plan out logistically as much as I can beforehand in each city. So for me, that means doing my usual, like when I'm back in Seattle, I do different kinds of therapy for my body. They're once or twice a week. So right now I'm like booking those appointments into Boston, like into places where I know I'm going to be, just so I know that I can get that kind of care taken care of. Insurance covers, at least mine, like wherever I am, it covers it as long as I go to a doctor that's in network with that insurance. And then as far as pills, if you have like a, you know, big pharmacy that's anywhere, CVS, Rite Aid, like that kind of thing, Walgreens, you can pick it up in any city that they have those. So that hasn't been any different than what I would do at home. You know, I can still call in my prescription, go get it. Definitely one of the things I'm massively considering with potentially moving here is that it would pretty much be a nightmare if I got one of my bad ER kind of migraines, because when those happen, I am like uncontrollable vomiting. So in order to get to the ER here, like I would have to get in an Uber. I would be throwing up in the Uber. Like it'd just be a whole thing. Those are the kind of things where like I do have to think about that because it happens. You know, it's a little more uncomfortable and inconvenient, definitely. It's just like part of doing this that I'm kind of like, I would rather be able to experience the hours and days that I can and have those kind of things happen. Like the good outweighs the bad for me, where I'm like, I'm not gonna let that stuff stop me from doing what I want to do, basically, even though, you know, a lot of days it does, but it's worth it for me to still try. I also still have my doctors back in Seattle, so I'm going back there in December for another round of injections and appointments and things like that. So it's like I'm not totally cut off right now. If I need something, I still have all my doctors back in Seattle. I just try to like logically think about like, okay, worst case scenario, say I'm in Boston where I know nobody and something happens and I have to go to the ER, like worst case scenario, I either like knock on a neighbor's door or call 911. Like it might happen, you know what I mean? If I can't get in an Uber myself, like whatever it is, but it's never like the world is over and there's nothing that can be done. You know what I mean? Like you'll figure it out if you get in those situations. I wouldn't say it's like an easy thing to come to, like especially when I was in Seattle thinking about all of this, like getting overwhelmed. Like there were definitely days where I'm like, am I making the right decision here? I'm living the same life physically as I would in Seattle, so it's just like what I'm doing with the days that I can, if that makes sense. Where do you think you'll wind up living right now? Okay, I wanted to answer this because I think it'll be interesting to look back on in like 6 months or whenever I end up moving somewhere. Right now, I think Chicago is my number one, but I think it would be so cool to come back and do this in New York City like every year for like a month and a half or something, or like twice a year. Because I do really love it here, but there are certain things, and I'll get into it in that New York video, where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. New York is not off the table for living, but right now I do think Chicago's number one. Keep in mind, I'm going to be visiting there in the winter. I know everyone's going to comment about the weather. I'm going there in the winter, okay? So I'm going to get the full experience in Chicago. I know it's freezing there. I know. Any thoughts on ever visiting Florida? I went to Miami actually right before COVID hit. I have a whole get ready with me video there talking about, so weird, talking about like the first, I think I mentioned that video, talking about the first couple cases, or it was just like just going on right when we were there. The first couple cases of COVID happened. I love Miami so much. I definitely would go back to Miami. I could never live there, but it's very fun to visit. Okay, so I think I just rambled on for a long time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna have the link for Haley's Beauty down below if you wanna check out their Black Friday sale and get 35% off site-wide. I'll also have the individual products I talked about down below. Highly recommend, but that sale is going on until November 28th, so you can check it out down below. But thank you guys for caring and submitting your questions and watching this whole video. If you're around at this point, thank you so much. I have been updating on Instagram, a lot on stories, like if you want to just see out and about kind of New York things, I'm vlogging. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.